can't. I said when I was coming that I brought my computer because it's outrageous the amount of money that we are talking about. Imagine these people have spent 880 million francs CFA for 16 ambulances. Not a single ambulance has been delivered to date where we speak. Imagine that they had 96 service providers, none of whom had the agreement to provide services to the Ministry of Health, and they got contracts worth 600 million francs CFA. One person, Mr. Abakar Sidiki Diaby, got contracts worth close to 800 million, 796 million. Him alone. He alone is representing 3 companies. He got contracts worth 796 million. And guess what? He bears the same last name as the gentleman who was nominated by the Minister of Health to preside over the working group. His name is Usman Diaby. So Usman Diaby was giving contracts to Sidiki Diaby worth 796 million. And nobody, I mean, these guys they take us for jokers. They take us for real idiots. Nobody from the minister did not realize that, hey, people are getting the exact same name. People have the same name. They are getting contracts here. The working group, they went over budget. Imagine that they had, for personal protection equipment, right? They had a budget of 2.9 billion francs CFA. That is the masks and the gloves and so on for the medical personnel. 2.9 billion was their budget. They spent 23 billion. You had a budget of 2.9 billion and you spent 23 billion, and nobody, it rang no alarm bells anywhere. How can you go over budget by 20 billion francs CFA?
But now there are some of the ministers are being auditioned in Yaoundé, and this is coming at the request of the International
Monetary Fund.
Yes. To say that those organs that were charged with regulating, monitoring how monies are spent were not doing the job.
It is to say, as we have always said, is that this government, this regime, is rotten to the core. Believe you me, in your house, I am talking about your home management, you cannot allocate a budget for 10,000 francs, right? And somebody goes and spends 200,000 and you don't realize it. Is it possible? That is what we are talking about. That they allocated 2.9 billion and they spent 23 billion, and nobody was aware of this until they wanted more money, because we have to realize why this audit is taking place. It's not because somebody wanted to manage our money well. It is that Cameroon is currently in the negotiation phase with the IMF, and the IMF said, hey, can you please account for the funds which you already received before we give you more money? That's why we are seeing this audit taking place. Imagine that for communication. I hope Prime TV got some of that money.
With all the work we did.
For communication, they allocated 70 million and they spent...
No.
Yes.
70 million.
They allocated 70 million and they spent 310 million. How do you do that? How is that possible? To be over budget. Not one time, 2 times, you know, it's incredible. For COVID tests, so while we were looking for COVID tests, because we were looking for COVID tests. There was a point in time here in the month of March where Cameroonians, you couldn't find a COVID test. People were getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning to go and look for a COVID test, and so on and so forth. They went over budget by 21 billion.
Yeah, but there's also an issue there where we understand that globally this is bought at this amount, and yet the Ministry of Public Health went buying this for close to something that was supposed to be bought for 7,000 francs. They're paying for. Was it tying with the way our contracts are done? That it
well, here is the thing: is that a working group was put into place, and let me tell you the job of the working group. Their working group. This is what is written in their cahier de charge. You know, the
terms of reference.
Terms of reference, exactly. They were to examine the offers that were brought. They were to give technical advice. They were to formulate proposals on price. So exactly what you are talking about. How is it that a test which the supplier is selling at 7,000 francs is being bought by the government of Cameroon at 17,000 francs? And then when the same test becomes available, that is, a donor agency provides a subvention, so the test is now costing 2,900 francs, we are still buying the same test at 17,000 francs. Of course, if you are buying at 17,000, then you cannot buy enough tests for the population. If you could buy it at 3,000 francs or 4,000 francs and you are buying at 17,000, it means that you are buying a lot fewer tests. This working group's job was to ensure that when they make recommendations, the recommendations are followed up, and they were to give reports. So one of the things that the auditors are saying is that we don't see the reports of the working group.
Okay, the reports are not there. We're out of time. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and my regards to Madam Kah Walla. I remember in law and government, while in secondary school, was told for one to be elected or appointed in high office, he or she should be married. I don't know much about Madam Kah, but I was told she's not married. How then does she intend to be president of the Republic? Mulai Kema is writing from Paris.
Really, Mr. Mulai Kema, really?
I
Really?
Yeah,
He's worried about my state of marriage. They are robbing him blind here. All of these people who are robbing him blind are married, very, very married. Okay. Some of them have 2-3 wives.
I'm not sure.
Is that his problem?
I'm not
really?
Sure. I'm not sure that is found in any law. Hi Leo, we can save Cameroon if resources used for ammunition and war operations by both parties to the conflict can be invested in education and investment trust funds. Government leadership and politicians can go hawk a train. They are all jokers. JN Abgo is writing from Kumba. This one, Senderic says, I'm following very closely, watching from Bonaberry. Good evening to you, Derek, and to you, madam. This one says, Cameroon can be saved only when there is a proper hygiene in the government, that is eradicate corruption and respect of the constitution. Thank you for that one, writing from the United Kingdom. You are right, madam. Politicians are all liars. The reason why we are where we are in the place for the first time, madam, you have spoken the truth. Yeah, but I think she has